Hi guys, today I'm gonna go off topic to another interest of mine, which is the MMA fight between Ronda Rousey and Holly Holmes. Um, as a boxing coach, and I lean heavily towards the boxer, which was Holm, and judging from as far as experience goes for both fighters, they all have experience. Rousey with the bronze medal, Olympic medal for judo, and of course, Holmes several world title belts that she's won. So as far as experience goes, I'll say they both have experience um, in, in their field. But as far as well-rounded experience on a professional level, I had to lean more towards Holm in this fight. And of course, those of you who don't know, Holm won the fight um, strictly on strikes. Now, my stepfather is a fourth degree black belt in Goju-Ryu, and trained later on in his career, trained heavily in Tai Chi, the different forms of Tai Chi, and Shaolin Kung Fu. Wushin Bafa is the one that he practiced. I learned some of those things, so I'm not completely biased to boxing. But in this case, looking at the pre documentary, the lead up to the fight, you can see one of the biggest thing, and something I try to teach to my students, and Ms. Holm mentioned it a couple of times, is she run. She did a lot of road running. I'm not saying Ms. Rousey didn't do so. She probably did, but when they both came into the octagon, you can clearly see that Holm was in better shape. She was cut up, deltoids were all shredded, abs were showing, pecs were showing. I mean, she wasn't overkill, obviously, but she came prepared on the conditioning side, and excuse me. And one of the things that I liked about her, where I favored her, is that she has the pedigree in the boxing. So her strike game is really tight, and of course the kickboxing side of things, where she's able to counter with her kicks, um, as she behind the punches. So my take was that, well, in order for Rousey to be able to defend against something like that, she'll need to have to either shift, do boxing shifting, to throw Holm off, or do some feinting to make Holm react, and then jump in for a takedown. And unfortunately, when I was looking at the fight, I didn't see Rousey made an attempt to take down Holmes too often, which to get her into the area where she's very strong, which is a judo. But then again, that could lead to the fact that the mental game that Holm came in, because of her background, she was not really intimidated by Rousey. She had confidence in her training, which she did mention, and based on what I saw, her training was on point. Her conditioning was on point, so she was strong enough to to do what she needed to do to prevent a submission. And she was smart enough to not keep the fight on the ground. When she did take Rousey to the ground, she just stood up, walked away, and kept it on the feet. In other words, her ring generalship was far superior in this particular fight, in that she controlled what happened and when it happened. If it went to the ground and she didn't want it there, she stood up and moved to the center of the ring, or the octagon, and made the fight a standing fight. And Rousey pretty much followed that pattern. And it is not that she doesn't have the experience or skill to see that, but with being tired and stuff, because a lot of energy is wasted trying to get in and trying to punch a box with a boxer is very, very difficult to do. Um, as far as MMA is concerned, I think it's the best thing in martial arts. It's going to evolve. It has evolved martial arts to a level to what like Bruce Lee wanted, where you use what you want, what you need, and you discard what you don't at the time, and no mastering or being proficient in many disciplines and being able to transition among them makes you a more complete fighter. As far as from a business perspective, I would say boxing is much better. You make more money. You're less likely to get injured in boxing if you're skilled enough. But in this fight, the strike one, I was always taught that you always got to strike first before he could get into a clinch. The striking comes first. You have to be able to defend against a strike to deliver a takedown or a slam. And in this case, Holm experienced her ring movement, her ring generalship, the angles. She gave us some angles, and she basically schooled Ronda in boxing technique. And hopefully at a rematch, Ronda would learn some things and focus heavily on a strike game, but not necessarily just on striking, just to try and go toe to toe with Holm, because she will never be able to do that in such a short period of time. But what she can do is get her conditioning way up. She really needs to get her conditioning way up. But she also needs to work on her strike game. But more importantly, she got to work on slipping slipping forward and getting into the range where she's good at, which it would be the takedowns, the judo stuff, and some of the grappling, some of the arm locks and things that she does. I like the arm bar in particular. There are a few others that she does well. Being able to do that, but she has to get stronger first. She's not as strong as Holm, and even if she gets in to try and take her down, because Holm conditioning is so high, Ronda is not going to be strong enough to physically pry her arm into a position that she wants. She basically have to fall into that position. And I don't think Holm will allow something like that to happen arbitrarily. The leg kicks, the angle why Ronda got kicked with that leg kick is that Holm stood at an angle and delivered that kick. Ronda was turning around when she landed that kick, which means the angles are very, very important. So my athletes out there, if you're seeing this video, when you actually step in the ring to compete or to train or even work on sparring, work the angles, sidestep. Holm did a lot of sidestepping, a lot of movement like that, and threw combos from the angles, not necessarily from the front, except when she threw straight lefts. She threw that straight from the front because she had the reach advantage. And Ronda was just walking into them. So hopefully you guys enjoy this commentary. Both fighters are great fighters in their own way. I would love to see the rematch and see them improve their skills and take martial arts as a whole into a whole new direction. And it's really good for the female athletes to do this, because we train young girls in a gym as well, and we need female role models for them to look up to. And so far have been successful in showing them people like Holm and Rousey. Y'all have a good day.